Hi guys, my name is Jonathan Fisher and this is Haleigh Fisher, and today we wanted to come and talk to you guys about empathy and the importance of empathy in the respect of a marriage. So a lot of people confuse empathy and sympathy. So here's a really good analogy or metaphor that helps me conceptualize these two topics. So sympathy is you're standing at the edge or rim of a pit and somebody is in the pit, in the mud, in the grime, and that's really the hard place to be. And so you're standing at the edge and you're looking down and you fundamentally understand what's going on. You can see the struggle, but you're not experiencing the struggle yourself. Empathy is getting in the pit with somebody and really focusing in on how they're feeling, what they're feeling, and experiencing those emotions with them. And so now we want to talk about some practical examples of empathy to help us understand some of these things.
Yeah, so before we go to the examples, we want to talk about why empathy is actually important. And so empathy helps build connection with people. And so that's one of the ways that we connect is through shared experiences, through letting somebody know that you hear them, you understand, that you're supporting them, and empathy allows us to do that. And so while it's a very simple concept, it's a very important concept to build that emotional connection and trust within a marriage.
This is very similar to how God connects with us. Jesus, in a lot of the Gospels, would connect with his people using empathy. This is actually the main way that God connects with us. This is the way I believe that God connects with us the best. So, for example, there's a ton of stories, but obviously the one where he encounters the death of Lazarus, and Mary and Martha come running to him, and he is experiencing that pain, and so it says that Jesus wept with them. But it wasn't because he didn't know that he couldn't raise Lazarus from the dead or anything like that, but he was connecting with Mary, he was connecting with Martha on the loss of their brother. That he really fundamentally wanted them to understand that he was with them in their sorrow, he was with them in their pit. And ultimately, this is how God connects with us, is to empathize with us. I really believe that the way humans feel most connected is to empathize with each other. If you can empathize in your marriages, you will feel more connected than you ever would have otherwise.
Yeah, and then the Bible tells us that Jesus is our great high priest who empathizes with us and who knows all our struggles. And so that's just another example that if Jesus does that in his relationship with us, then that's what we should be doing in our relationships with each other. And so then what that looks like practically, we'll give you guys an example.
So I'm going to talk about my day. So my boss told me that I needed to get this report in, and I really was stressed and anxious about that because I didn't know if that was going to be something he was expecting earlier or later, and so there was just a lot of unknowns, and I just was really stressed.
Sounds really hard. How are you feeling about that?
I think there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of insecurities that came up of fear and me not feeling like I was successful or being able to provide well. And so I think there's a lot of those rudimentary fears that I was feeling.
Yeah, that's so hard to feel so scared and put so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, it is. So one of the things that Haleigh did there that I really liked is she didn't hijack the conversation. So with true empathy, you're not going to take the conversation and add a story of your own. You might have that in the back of your mind and be drawing from your own story to really feel what the other person is feeling, but what you're not doing is you're not hijacking the conversation and using that as a platform to talk about yourself in any way. You see that in movies all the time. People will talk about themselves and then it's all resolved and the person's like, oh, so you do understand what I'm feeling. Like, we don't need that as humans. What we need is to really feel listened to and to feel connected with. You don't have to prove that you can empathize. You just actually have to empathize with somebody. And so I think that was really great and really an important piece to that. So thank you guys for joining us for this segment, and we'll catch you guys next time.